this is your host speaking. Now, I couldn't help but notice you are no longer in the holding cell where I left you. Impressive, genuinely. I had that cell reinforced after your last escape. Soldered down the air vents, new locking mechanisms, the whole shebang. But we'll discuss that later. I also noticed that you did not touch the food I've left out for you, which I will admit I did find hurtful, actually. I went to some trouble to program the food synthesizer for a human palate, which required me to read several things I did not particularly enjoy reading about human digestion to ensure that I did not poison you. So, yeah, you're welcome for that. Well, be that as it may, I'm coming to find you now. It shouldn't take that long, really. This new ship isn't particularly large, and I know it far better than you do, so I'd encourage you to not waste too much energy hiding from me. Remember, we are several days from the nearest port, and there's nothing outside the hole but the vacuum space. So your options are fairly limited regardless. And also, if you do have any notes on the food, flavor, texture, what have you, do let me know. Once I've located you and have dealt with all of this, I'm happy to make some adjustments. It's a newer model, and I'm still figuring out some of the settings. You understand. That's all. Rest assured, I'll have you found soon. Over and out.
I do wish you would just come out. You're making me rearrange my entire schedule. I have been thinking about your second most recent escape. Back at that seedy port in the Neo-Athenian system before I upgraded the ships. I have had some time to think about it. I'm still not entirely certain how you got through the ship's exhaust port. Anatomically, I mean. I looked it up afterward several times, and I remain unconvinced the human body should be able to fit through such a tight space. I would actually like you to explain how you managed it to me at some point, when we're through with this song and dance. Purely out of professional curiosity. Although, how should I put this? Human bodies are, rather pliable. They have a lot of give to them, or I'd imagine they do based off of the research. The skin organ and human connective tissue and the like. Also purely out of professional curiosity. My species is exoskeletal, you see, so I have some difficulty in doing what a soft-bodied creature can and cannot squeeze through. An unfortunate blind spot in my line of work, but, we live and learn. Also, in the spirit of transparency, I do have a neurostatic canister installed throughout the ship's ventilation system. The gas is not harmful. It would simply immobilize you for a time and, cause some sharp, involuntary spasms to make locating you a bit easier. It has no effect on my physiology, of course, but I've been told it is not particularly pleasant for humans. I'd prefer not to deploy the gas. I just cleaned out the ship's air filters, so to save us both some time and hardship, why don't you just come out? No? It was worth a try. Listen, if you make me take this entire ship apart, I'm going to be rather cross with you. I'm just putting that out there. What was that? You're in the maintenance shaft, aren't you? Of course you are. You should know, the maintenance corridor only has 2 exits. I should mention that. I have just locked the other one. Hello. Don't. No, listen. There's nowhere to go. I just told you I locked the other end. Please do not make me chase you through a crawl space. This is a very sincere request. Stars, burn it. This demeans us both, you know. What are you doing? I'm gonna have to replace that. I'm gonna have to replace that. In my time as a bounty hunter, I have had to upgrade all the locks twice, because of you specifically. I had to have the exhaust port on my last ship welded shut, and then I had to sell the ship because the ventilation was never quite right afterwards. I filed a damage claim that I will not get into now, and my insurance premium has gone up 3 times in the last 2 years. My colleague, former colleague that is, we don't talk anymore. It's fine. Look, they told me to drop your contract. Cut my losses, they said. And I told them, hey, that was a perfectly reasonable suggestion, and I would take it under consideration. Yet, here we are. Now, the maintenance shaft exit you just came through should have deposited you directly into the cargo bay, which, as I am sure you have already noticed, only has one exit. So, what I'm going to do is lock this door from the outside, and we can both take a moment to collect ourselves and reflect on our actions. Effectively, all that has changed is which room you are being held in. And the cargo bay is way less comfortable than your cell, which is entirely on you. On you. I hope that you will...
Emergency shutdown sequence initiated. All non-essential systems are now offline. Propulsion offline. Navigation offline. Life support operating at minimum capacity. Please remain calm and await assistance.
How did you? The emergency override requires a biosample of my own DNA. I am genuinely, and I mean this is a sincere question, not a rhetorical one, I am genuinely asking how you obtained my DNA. This is something I would like to know. That is, a little disturbing, but honestly, the least of our concerns right now. Listen to me. I need you to disable the emergency shutdown. I understand what you are trying to do, and under different circumstances, I would find it admirable. But please understand that we are adrift in the vacuum of space with limited oxygen between us. No matter how you spin it, this is not a winning scenario for either of us. And a considerable escalation from your previous escapes, I might add. I may be willing to make some concessions with you, if the alternative is asphyxiating in the dark. Some concessions, I said, within reason. I'm not simply going to open the door and wish you well, if that's what you're angling for. I do still have a contract to fulfill and some professional dignity left to preserve, believe it or not. How about this? I will find the strawberry setting on the food synthesizer, a popular flavor among humans. I'm led to believe that is. I know the synthesizer has it. I just have not located it in the manual yet. But I will make that a priority for you.
Oxygen reserves depleting. Currently at 90%.
No, dropping you off in a neutral port is not on the table. I have a contract, as I said, and my professional reputation has already been taking considerable damage over the last 5 years. Largely due to you. Be reasonable.
Oxygen reserves depleting. Currently at 80%.
It is not happening. And even if it was, even if I were to drop you at a neutral port, which I am not agreeing to, I want to be clear, it would not make much of a difference. I am one bounty hunter. If I discard your contract, it does not just disappear, it gets reassigned. There are plenty of other hunters who would pick it up within an hour who do not have let's call it professionalism. I have been chasing you for years now, and I've never once caused you injury or harm, so do factor that in. Oxygen reserves depleting, currently at 70%. One has to wonder why you're like this. No, what I mean to say is, look, I've read your bounty profile several times, in fact. Several times. Your charges are corporate, embezzlement, data theft. I'll not say it's a light sentence, but it's a survivable one. A few years in some minimum security prison on a luxury terraformed planet, and you would be out before you know it. That's what's waiting for you at the end of this. Surely that's preferable to...
Oxygen reserves depleting. Currently at 60%.
Fine. A neutral port. No bounty outpost. No handoffs to law enforcement. You walk away. I absorb the loss again. For the time being. I will even give you a head start before I resume the hunt. How is 30 standard days?
Oxygen reserves depleting. Currently at 50%.
Please, talk to me here. What has you so convinced that suffocating in a cargo bay of my ship is preferable to what is waiting for you at the end of this bounty? It is true that your bounty profile is vague, yet the reward is enormous, which is, well, a little odd. Something I raised my antenna at. I noticed that when I was first offered the contract. And yes, I took it anyways because the reward was, well, considerable. That is on me. I'm willing to acknowledge that. But if you would explain to me the position you're in, there may be avenues I can take to help. Please. Look, I have contacts at the Bounty Hunters Guild. I can file a contract inquiry, request that our client's credentials be verified again. If your profile listing is found to be fraudulent or the listed charges do not hold up to further scrutiny, the contract gets suspended pending investigation.
Oxygen reserves depleting. Currently at 40%.
What do you mean you can't tell me for my own good? Why not? Here, my final bargaining chip. That is my stun baton, okay? I'm offering it freely and not under duress as a show of goodwill. Please disable the emergency override and just talk to me.
Emergency shutdown protocol disengaged. All systems resuming normal operations.
Oh, good. Now, thank you. Now, please, if you would just... Thank the stars you came to see reason. Now, I think if we could just sit down and discuss this like fully mature members of our respective species, we can arrive at an arrangement that works for both of...